Special screening tonight in San Francisco, the showing of a film called 5B.
Nearly 3,000 cases of AIDS have already hit this city. Half those people have died.
The documentary is about America's first AIDS ward right here in San Francisco, and it stars one of our former reporters, KPIX 5 political editor Hank Plante.
And recognize that guy. Hank was one of the first reporters to cover the AIDS crisis anywhere in America at a time when President Reagan wouldn't even say the word AIDS. Our own Joe Vazquez sat down with Hank tonight.
An international fight against AIDS.
For me, as one of the first openly gay TV reporters in the country, this was more than a story to me because these were my friends. People were just dying and the drugs
You
weren't
had
working.
friends who were dying.
I had many friends who were dying. I went to many funerals. I would go work as a reporter covering this during the day, and at night visit with sick friends. On the weekends, go to funerals. And so reporting on it at least made me feel like I was doing something.
You did more than just do something. I mean, highlighting this crisis was the way that this got to the forefront. It got to in front of politicians, and changes eventually were able to be made.
I always felt kind of a special responsibility when politicians would come to town, presidential candidates would come to town. I would always ask them about AIDS. Kind of didn't matter what their answers were. I just wanted them to know that you're not going to come through San Francisco without getting asked about this.
Well, let's talk about the KPIX coverage. This is a big story. It was killing thousands, but it wasn't uncontroversial to cover this big story.
Yeah, there was a lot of pressure on the station to not cover it as much as we were. There were people inside the building, I will say, who told management, we're too much AIDS on the news, too many gay people on the news. Fortunately, management had a backbone. I mean, I was covering it on a nightly basis. I'm really proud of that work, more proud of that than any work I've done in my life. The station management saw this as a compelling story and a public service, and thank heavens for that.
We decided that if we can't save these folks, we're going to touch them.
So it's not just a story about this large crisis. You had these healthcare workers who just charged bravely into this front line, not knowing about AIDS, not knowing if they were going to catch it because no one quite knew how you could catch it.
That's a really important point. I mean, AIDS came out of nowhere. We started to get a lot of cases here in San Francisco. So a group of nurses who are featured in this film at San Francisco General took over this ward called Ward 5B and started caring for the people with AIDS. They didn't know, we didn't know how it was even spread. Was it airborne? Were they bringing it home to their families? But they just charged ahead and did what nurses do, which is to take care of these people with great love and skill and compassion.
On the Night Beat, I'm Joe Vazquez.